I was given the task to produce a radio package on street fashion.
This is a part of the show called Say Something UK, hashtag Say Something UK, where we talk a little bit of substance, whether it's lighthearted or whether it's very, very deep. And hosting it this week is another member of London 360. She is going to be covering street style this evening, and I will leave her to speak for herself. Her name is Hanan. How are you doing?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey guys.
You good?
Thank you for having me. Really looking forward to a discussion today.
Yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So tell the people why you're here exactly.
So basically, I was given the task to produce a radio package on street fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started to look into the street fashion, it's such a broad topic. Where do you start,
Yeah.
So, I started my research, and I came across the Black British Style exhibition that was curated by the V&A Museum back in 2004.
Cool.
And also by Carol Tulloch, who's a professor at the University of Art, London.
Like a design professor?
She's a dress, diaspora and transnationalism professor, so she looks into, black culture and all that stuff.
Okay,
which
fair
was
enough.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've never heard of Black British style. It never crossed my mind at all. And I thought, it's time to look into that, and I picked that topic. It was quite interesting.
Cool. So, was there anything that kind of surprised you while doing this radio package, or was it just kind of everything that you kind of already kind of seen?
Yes, I felt like I've learnt a lot actually just looking into this topic, because I had more questions than answers when I was looking into it.
Okay.
Even now, actually, I do have more questions. Like, we posted the question, asking the listeners, is there such thing as Black British style? And to me, at the moment, I don't have any answer. But I've visited, the history, or look into specific time in the past where Black British style was really, really visible and popular amongst the people here in the UK. So the package will speak for itself, but I would love to continue this discussion, because it talks about, it's about us, our identity, about our surroundings, our lifestyle. Do we really recognise that?
I'm interested in it as well, because somebody's put up here, why must it be separated by race? And it's like, there's so many stereotypes surrounding not just fashion, but obviously in this case fashion and style. So I'm interested to hear how you sort of approach the topic.
Yes.
So
Street style for black youth took a sharp turn, and it became all about their black identity. And the Black Power movement was largely responsible for the popularity of a new Black British style.
A really defined black style emerges that comes with a political agenda. So that's the Black Power movement, Rastafari in the 1970s defining themselves as black and connected with other parts of the African diaspora.
There you go. There's another one for you there. Street fashion. Street fashion, in particular, Black UK street fashion. So that was a very, very interesting documentary. You got a lot of knowledgeable people, and I love the way that you went to the streets, and then you also went to the academic individuals. There we go, the academia, or whatever you want to call it. But yes, so you asked a question to the people a few hours ago, and you've got a very, very mixed response.
Some people are always, quite quick to say, "Oh, here we go," and another race story. But it's good that people are at least getting involved, and that you've hit a nerve with a few people.
Yes,
in a good way.
Definitely. So your question was to the people on social media was, is there such thing as Black British street style? Now, obviously, we've just heard a radio documentary on that, so clearly there are people that completely agree with that. And then there are some people
and then some.
And then some. So shout out to Mr. Top Notch C. He says, not really. It's all variations of what was seen in the US. It's borrowed style. And then you also mentioned someone else who said, why must it be separated by race?
What would your answer be to that?
Well, when it comes, I guess I looked at it from a positive point of view. Really, it's something that we should sort of recognise and own, because after all, when it comes to street style, it's about self-expression.
Right.
It's about your surroundings, your identity, things that really influence you. It's about subculture too at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you're proud of that subculture or that influence around you, then why not? I mean, you should own it. If you look at today's celebrities, for example, lots of them do send trends. We've got hip hop artists who set the trends. So it's very important that we recognise how the black community does contribute to street style and fashion in general.
Yeah. But then as well, there's not a thin line, but fashion and style. Although they come together, they're quite different. Like, do you?
That's quite interesting thing, because fashion is completely different. I mean, fashion is about designers setting the trends and deciding what goes on the high street, shops and etc. But when it comes to street style, it's about the individual. It's about you. It's about you expressing yourself and deciding, showing the world who you are, what you're about, and the sort of ideology that you have, in life, etc. Yeah. So defining moments I've seen, like when it comes to black street style, if we go back in the 1970s, for example, we've got the Lovers Rock.
Okay.
It's a music. It's a style of reggae music, and back then it was about it's about the music that you listen to and also the street style that you have. And that was very specific to Britain, to London specifically. That's something I would be proud of. Like we've set trends, so why not? Then you've got the Black Power movement in the 1970s. Again, it's about the Afro.
Afrocentricity and stuff.
Exactly. It was black nationalism. Knowing your heritage, history, and really being proud of who you are. And obviously that comes with street style and music choices.
But coming back to the music, do you feel that music can still influence fashion and style? Or do you think people are sort of, because I used to have a friend at school who dyed half her hair blonde, half black, and everyone obviously thought she's a bit gothic, but she loved Dizzy Rascal, and it's like people didn't like that idea. So it's like, how can you?
I think this, because I've responded to some people.
Okay.
And I think that
I've just been reading yours and
because people were kind of getting at me, and it kind of annoyed me, because the thing is, it's almost like, particularly with black culture, people automatically think that if I'm trying to separate something, then it must be something negative. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. Just because someone's pro-black doesn't mean that they're anti-everything else. And I think that that's what the problem is. And I said as well that everybody's prejudiced. No matter what you wear, everybody will judge you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter where the origin of that style is, but everyone will judge you in it. So some people agreed with that, but it's not about me. Shout out David Usherwood. He says, yes, there is British black style. It's high fashion meets hood swag. Always has been. Remember when we were rocking Versace and all that differently from how designers intended it to be. Since the 90s, ASAP, meaning ASAP Rocky and people like that, I guess, and all these cats look like London Roadman these days. And I think he has a good point, because they're always coming here. Skepta at the moment, what's he doing? He's wearing tracksuits. He's not in he's not very high fashion, but it's kind of like he's still doing runway, he's still doing fashion week. So
true. But it's like I sort of feel as well that when a rapper or an artist gets to a certain age, they do change their style a bit. Like if you look at Bashi, for example. He's not Tinchy.
Tinchy's changed a little bit.
Tiny Temper as well. It's like they're getting into fashion, wearing more suits, and it's like they've transitioned from. I'm not saying boys to men, but
I think it's natural. I mean, we do go through phases where we change what we wear, how we sort of our lifestyle. But if I go back to, for example, hip hop culture, obviously that has been the biggest hit when it comes to sort of the street style. Obviously it did originate in the USA. What we've noticed throughout the years is that it's being commercialized. and this is how you know it's like, you know, it came from the black community in America and then it was exported worldwide. So why can't we really own it? I mean, there's lots of people making money out of it, you know. If we don't recognize this kind of stuff and say it comes from, you know, our own, you know, communities, then no one else would really recognize that for you. True. I was introduced earlier by a colleague of mine to ASOS. ASOS, they have their own Africa clothing line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and everything they do sell is like the African print, and they make money out of that. Oh yeah,
that's popping right now.
Yes,
I like that. Kai Jones, who's in the building. I swear I was pre-ing your Insta and I saw her wearing like a dashiki type of thing, still with like some of the UK type of elements, and I love that, man. I love this.
So why can't we recognize it as black British or black style?
It's a fusion, though, isn't it? Of like sort of like making it accessible to everyone, not sort of, you know,
absolutely
keeping it to one
so
culture.
When it comes to things like cultural appropriation, you know, we jump on the bandwagon, we argue that, you know, people are trying to sort of emulate our own style or our culture.
True.
But we're not really owning our own, you know, style.
Yeah.
So why do you think people get so touchy when somebody else wears something that would usually be associated with, for example, black British street style?
I don't think it happens that much anymore. No, I know.
Devil's advocate.
I know. I love it. But I don't think that happens as much, because when you think about it, right? Who are the main consumers of hip hop and grime and everything else? It's middle class white kids, yeah? Mainly speaking, yeah? And they buy the merch, they invest in the lifestyle, and a lot of these, you know, kids have never really been in the streets, so to speak, and a lot of these artists come from the streets, so like they're kind of welcomed in, you know what I mean? But I know what you mean about the whole ownership thing. I think it is really important that a lot more, you know, black designers and, you know, even just artists take a bit more ownership of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got fashion designer Wale, who spoke earlier in the documentary. You know, his beanie hat, cap, you know, the hat became really trendy when it first came out, and that was in direct relation to hip-hop culture. So it's very important that we sort of recognize these things and sort of own it. Definitely.
Cool. Well, we've kind of run out of time, but it was very interesting. Where can people find you next?
Well, we are on London 360, so on Twitter @London_360. Follow us. We always updating things. We're covering community stories. So yeah, and I'd love this discussion to continue about the black style, and really.
I believe it will. You need to just check that social media.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hi, Hanan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is UK Full Stop, playing the greatest to the latest in UK urban culture. Thursdays, 10 p.m. to midnight on West Side Radio.